or soften your gaze. Take your awareness inward, let go of your day. Forget everything I just said. And just observe yourself on your mat. Noticing what you feel in your body this evening. Any tension, any tightness, any restriction. Anywhere you're holding in. And then observing the breath. And you don't always have to change it right away, but just noticing, oh, the breath is up in the chest, or it's in the throat, or my breathing is really shallow. I'm holding my breath in. Or maybe it's a little wider than long. Or maybe it's longer than it is wide. Maybe the inhales are longer than the exhales, or the other way around. So just take a moment to check in. And then softening the throat and the jaw. And for a moment, releasing all your abdominal muscles, letting everything be soft. So we can start to move the breath as you inhale into the bottom of the ribs, maybe all the way to the belly button, around the sides of the waist. And for now, just exhale and slowly releasing the breath. And then on your next inhale, growing the breath a little bit more, expanding maybe to the top of the hips, into the mid-abdomen, maybe all the way into the pelvis. And just deeply and slowly releasing that exhale. And then again, as you inhale, expanding the breath maybe a little bit deeper into the pelvic floor, between the sit bones, pubic bone, and tailbone. And slowly releasing as you exhale. Beginning to emphasize that inhale. So you're stretching from the inside, starting to work the breath. Inhale all the way into the pelvis. Start to stretch into where all of those muscles connect in the pelvis. The quads, the hip flexors, the glutes, the hamstrings, pelvic floor. And then exhale all of your breath out. Gently start to draw everything in. Squeeze every drop of breath out. And then we're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. You should feel space and expansion. And we're going to exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Adding in that retention this time. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. As you inhale, take the breath down. Feel the lower abdomen expand, pelvic floor, hips. Breathe down low into that space. Hold for a moment. Experience that stretch. And then exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Big breath. Take it all the way down. Long and wide. Soften and lengthen those pelvic floor muscles. Breathe into all that space in the hips. Holding here. Feel that length. Stretch, stretch, stretch from the inside. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do that one more time. Big breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Retaining that breath, holding that stretch, feeling that stretch and space from the inside. Take it into all those nooks and crannies where you feel tight in the pelvis, the hips, the lower back, the top of the legs. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. And just exhale, let it go. Come back to your own breath. And now gently begin to awaken the body. Move the hands, the feet. You can start to blink the eyes open. And then any little bit of moving, if you want to bend the knees, rock the hips side to side, bring one or both knees into the chest, give yourself a rock and roll. Any little bit of wiggling, start to mobilize the legs, the hips. And as you do this, still kind of checking in with yourself, which side maybe feels a little bit tighter than the other. Do the outer hips feel tighter than the back of the glutes? Do the quads feel tighter than the back of the legs? And then we're just going to start with our stretching breaths. Legs can be bent or the legs can be straight. We're going to start with those hands beside the hips. And we're going to add in our breath retention to all of these movements today. So, when you're ready, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Take that breath all the way down into the pelvic floor and into those deep core muscles, leaving the arms overhead. Hold here. 4, 3, 2, 1. And as you exhale, you draw the pelvic floor in, belly button to spine, hands back to the hips. And then inhale, big breath. Breath moves down and out. And we're holding, lengthening and stretching. And then exhale, and as you bring the hands back down, the pelvic floor comes back in and up. And inhale, big stretch, big breath. And we're holding here, feeling that stretch and length from the inside. And then exhaling and drawing the core and pelvic floor in as we return to our starting position. One more time, big breath in. Holding 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Nice and slow. Good. Inhale, big stretch again, arms overhead. Holding for that 4 count. And then this time, as we exhale, pelvic floor and core muscles in, we're going to bring the right knee into the chest. Think about using those core muscles rather than the hands to bring the knee in. And then inhale, release, arms come back overhead. Big breath. Lengthen those pelvic floor muscles. Soften the space around the belly button. Holding, retaining the breath. Exhale, engage the core muscles. Use that core to bring the left knee in. And then inhale, big breath. Letting everything lengthen and soften and stretch from the inside, and holding for a moment so you can really feel that stretch. And as you exhale, engaging that core all the way from the pelvic floor, right knee in, maybe the forehead towards the knee this time if that feels okay for the neck today. And inhale, big stretch, big breath. Retaining 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Left knee. And inhale. And retain. And exhale. Again, use those core muscles to bring that right knee in. And inhale. Retaining, holding here. Feel that stretch. This is the last one. Exhale, pelvic floor. Pubic bone to belly button, left knee in. And then just inhale, release. Hands by the hips. Setting up for our bridge pose, find your wooden block. And placing that block in between the thighs, just above the knees. Take a moment to check in with the hips. The feet should be parallel so the knees are straight from those hip joints. Gently squeezing that block. So we're going to take a nice big breath in. Lengthening, stretching, holding for a moment, feeling that stretch. Exhale, engage. Pelvic floor, pubic bone to belly button. Draw it in and then press into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips. We're going to squeeze the glutes and hold here. 4, 3, 2. Squeeze those glutes And exhale, release all the way down. So big breath in. Stretching and lengthening, breathing into that core, holding for a moment. Softening around the belly button, and then exhale, drawing it in, draw the pelvic floor in. And press into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes, and holding here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Inhale, big breath. Hold. Lengthen those pelvic floor muscles. Use that breath. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button. And press into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips, squeeze those glutes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try to get a little higher by squeezing those glutes, opening the front of the hips, feeling that stretch as we hold. And exhale, release. One more time, big breath. Holding the breath in, feel that stretch. This should feel good after all the engaging. We're doing really opposing movements. Stretching and engaging needs to be really emphasized. Exhale, draw it in. Press into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips. Squeeze those glutes. Squeeze and lift a little higher. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. And take that block out from underneath you. And we'll take our feet as wide as our mat and gently windshield wiper from side to side. You can match this movement to your breath or just move at your own pace. But as you move from side to side, again, observe the hips. Is it the outer hips or the inner thighs that feel tighter? Or both? Or is it on one side? Is one side more intense than the other side? We're going to do half butterflies, almost like our clamshell movement, but we're going to stay on our back. So we're going to bring those feet as close together as you can get them. Think about squeezing the feet and inner thighs together. And then we're going to take that right knee out as we inhale. And as you exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to navel, we're going to bring the knees back together. So as we inhale and open to the left, I want you to think about squeezing the left glute a little bit. And then as you exhale, engaging the core and squeezing the inner thighs together. Inhale to the right. Exhale, engage the core, pelvic floor, squeeze those inner thighs. Inhale to the left. Exhale, zip it up and pull everything in. Inhale to the right. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale to the left. Exhale, pull it in. Good. We're going to do this a few more times. I want you to, as you inhale and let everything stretch and release, feel your pelvis kind of tilt forward. And as you exhale, almost like you're tucking the pelvis under, pressing the lower back into the floor. So you're going to feel this rocking in the pelvis. Okay, a few more times to each side. Move with your breath. And we're not just letting the leg flop out, we're controlling it with the glute on the opposite side. Good. One more to each side. Make sure that you even out. And then before we move on, if you'd like to windshield wiper again or have the knees into the chest and do a little bit of rocking again. Kind of massaging out the back of the hips and the lower back with whatever movement feels best for you today. Always taking a moment to recheck in with what the body's feeling, listening to the body. The mind is going to tell you one thing, but we need to listen to the body. Your mind is going to tell you this is too hard, I don't want to do this, I'm tired, or I want to push myself, I should look like this person. But your body is going to tell you the actual truth. You can do this. You need to ease out of this. So always, 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 listening to our body is our greatest teacher. When you're ready, we're going to roll over to one side, take a moment there, and then use that top hand to press up and come up onto the hands and knees. Find our way into our tabletop position, and if you need support under the knees, using your foam blocks or doubling up your mat. Now we'll move through some cat-cows just to warm up that spine and that core a little bit more. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. We'll start in just a neutral tabletop position and take a nice deep breath in. And we're going to hold that inhale, feel that stretch, maybe a little bit more into the back of the hips and the pelvis in this position. And then exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button, and we're going to bring the chin to the chest, rounding the back. And then we're going to inhale, soften and lengthen, lift the heart. Keep the back of the neck long, holding here, feeling that stretch. And then exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button, chin to chest, round. And inhale. Breathing all the way from the crown of the head down to the pelvic floor. Holding, feeling that stretch. Make sure the spine feels long, so maybe looking down to the floor rather than looking up. And then exhale, draw everything in and up in towards the midline. Good, one more. Inhale, big breath. Holding for a moment, lengthening. And exhale, drawing in. And then sit back on the heels for a moment. We're going to come into our prone leg lifts. Now for the next couple of movements, I'm going to offer different variations. So if you're still really focusing on building that deep core strength or the movements still feel challenging, just sticking with what we've already done. If you're like, you know what, this is starting to get too easy, I'm going to offer you some different variations. So again, you always just listen to your body. It will tell you what it wants and what it needs. Don't listen to the mind, because it will tell you that's too hard, or it'll tell you that you can't do that. So we're going to come onto our tummies into our prone position. And we'll all start the same way. Give the hips a little wiggle, pedal out the feet if you need to. Resting the forehead on the hands or turning over to one cheek. We're isolating that lower body. For a moment, just take a few of those deep core breaths. Inhale, pass the belly button into the pelvis, pelvic floor. Holding for a moment, you can feel the breath pressing into your mat. And then exhale, drawing in. Almost like you're going to pull the belly button away from the floor. Inhale, big breath. And if it's comfortable, again, holding for that 4 count. And then exhaling and drawing in. And if a 4 count feels too long, and you're really forcing it, try just a count of 3. One more, just regular breath here. Good. So another 2-part breath. We're going to take a nice big breath in, holding that stretch for a moment. And then we're going to exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button. Maintain this, just like we do in our bridge. And then you're going to inhale, and you're going to squeeze the right glute, which is going to maybe lift the right foot off the floor. And we're going to reach those right toes back, like you're trying to make that right leg longer. And then exhale, release. Big breath in. Holding for a moment, lengthening, stretching from the inside. Exhale, pelvic floor in, engage pubic bone to belly button so the lower abdomen is engaged. Maintain that as you inhale, squeeze the left glute, left toes off the mat, and we're reaching the toes back, lengthening the left leg, and exhale, release. So inhale, big breath, hold, exhale, engage, inhale, lift, extend, exhale, release. Inhale, big breath, hold, exhale, engage, inhale, left glute, squeeze it, lift and extend, and exhale, release. Good. Do this 2 more times, or we're gonna bend the knee and do the same thing. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, engage. Keep that engagement, and then inhale, lift the knee off the floor and extend the knee back. And then exhale, release. And release the whole leg down. And then bend the left knee. Inhale, big breath. Hold for a moment. Exhale, engage. Pelvic floor, pubic bone to belly button. Keep that in. Inhale, lift and squeeze. And release, exhale. Good. 1 more time, either with the leg straight or the knee bent. Remember that big breath. Hold it for a moment. Use the exhale to engage, the inhale to lift, and then the exhale to release. So it's a 2-part breath. And then when you're done, both sides, give those hips a little wiggle, and you can sit back to child's pose for a moment and let all of that release. And remember, if child's pose is not a restful pose for you, choose a pose that is restful. So if you just want to sit up on the heels and grab a drink of water, you're welcome to do that as well, or use a block, a bolster. So for our back extensions today, I'm going to give you the option to add the legs in. So we're focusing on the legs today. So I'll just review our 3 options, and then we have a 4th today. So first option is Cobra. Elbows hugged, hands just hover off the floor. Option 2, Locust, our hands are back. Option 3, arms overhead. Option 4, hands back. And then we're going to lift the legs, squeeze the feet together. Okay, so that's your 4th option. You have 4 different things to choose. You can do a different one every single time you do it. Doesn't matter which one you do. Make sure that it feels good and you feel strong and solid in your body. So wherever you want to start, we're using that 2-part breath. So set yourself up, take a deep breath in. Hold that breath for a moment, feel that stretch, feel that length. Exhale, engage, pull everything in, and then inhale, lift and lengthen. Squeeze the upper back, and then exhale, release. Good, big breath in, hold, stretch. Feel that space, feel it wrap all the way around the hips and the lower back. And then exhale, engage, draw everything in. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And we're going to hold. So keep inhaling and lengthening, length, get longer. And then exhale, release. Let everything soften as you breathe in. Stretch from the inside. Hold for a moment. Exhale, draw in. Engage, and then inhale, lift. And we're gonna hold again. So keep breathing. In. Lots of space. And then exhale, release. If you're done, rest here, or we're gonna do one more. Inhale, big breath. Hold for a moment, lengthen. From the inside, exhale, draw in, engage. And then inhale, lift. And lengthen here, length. Keep breathing in, create more space, more length. And then exhale, release. And pause here, give those hips a little wiggle. And just come back to your own breath. And then you're welcome to stay here for a couple of breaths, or you can press back into another child's pose. And just taking a couple of easy breaths. Just letting everything relax. So if you're still in prone, you can flip-flop the legs. Make sure that the legs are releasing. We're not holding anywhere right now. We're not engaging anywhere. We're just resting. Letting our nervous system catch up with all the work we just did. Take another breath or two. And then when you're ready, hands under the shoulders. And you're going to press yourself up. And we're going to come into our bird dog, starting from our tabletop position. So finding that neutral table, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Make sure the feet are also hips width apart, so take a peek back at your feet. Right, using that two-part breath again. So big breath in. Holding for a moment again, feeling that stretch and that length through the spine, into the hips, the pelvis. And exhale, engage. We want to keep that lower abdomen engaged, so pubic bone to belly button stays connected. And on our inhale, we're going to squeeze the right glute, extend the right leg, and then lift the left arm. And exhale, release. Left leg, inhale, big breath. Hold, stretch. Exhale, draw in. Pubic bone to belly button, stay connected. And then inhale, left leg, right arm. Squeeze that left glute. Exhale, release. Good. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, engage. Now you can keep the knee bent here if you'd like. Inhale, lift. Squeeze that right glute. Exhale, release. Inhale, big breath. Hold for a moment. Feel that stretch. Exhale, draw in. Stay connected. Inhale, lift the left leg, right arm. You can keep the knee bent if you want. And exhale, release. Inhale, big breath. Hold, retain, lengthen. Breathe into those hips. Exhale, pelvic floor comes in, pubic bone to belly button. And inhale, right leg, left arm. If you want to keep that knee bent, we're going to take it out to the side this time. And then exhale, release. Inhale, big breath. Hold. Again, breathe into those hips. Breathe into all that tight, sticky space in the hips and pelvis. And then exhale, pelvic floor, pubic bone to belly button. Inhale, left leg, right arm. If the knee's bent, we're going to take it out to the side. And exhale, release. Okay, so you have three options. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, engage. Inhale, inhale, right leg, left arm, whichever option you want. Exhale, release. Last one, inhale, big breath. Hold this for a moment again. Lengthen, use that breath. Stretch from the inside, breathe into all those tight, sticky places, and then exhale, draw in, engage. And inhale, left leg, right arm, whichever option you've got. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that back body, squeeze that glute, and exhale, release. And child's pose or sit back on the heels. Take a few breaths. We've got plank to downward dog next. We're going to do a downward dog just to walk out the legs, loosen up the backs of the legs and the hips a little bit, and then we'll move into our plank to downward dog. So starting from that tabletop position, we'll take the knees back just an inch or two, tuck the toes, and then lift those hips as you press the front of your mat away. Bend the knees a lot here and walk out the legs. So as you bend one knee a little bit deeper, you're reaching that opposite heel towards the floor. You can turn the hips a little bit side to side. And you're trying to get the weight of your body off of your hands and your wrists and back towards your feet. So press those arms straight, press back towards the feet, lift those hips up, and look at your feet. That's where you want the weight of your body to go, is back towards your feet. When you've had enough of walking it out, come back down to the knees. Take a moment. Need to do some wrist circles. Stretch the wrists, shake out the hands. So you're welcome to do however many you want to do. We're just going to go for about maybe 40 seconds. However, if you want to keep going or if you want to do one plank to down dog, come down, shake out the wrists, then do another one, shake out the wrists. Okay, however you want to do it. There's no magic number. We're just going to go for about 40 seconds to a minute. Rest as you need. So you can start in your downward dog. Tuck those toes, lift those hips. If you need to, shimmy out those hips and walk out the legs. And then inhale forward to your plank, shoulders over the wrists. And use your exhale to go back up into your downward dog. And if you want to come down and rest, you're welcome to, or you can keep moving forward and back. A little bit of shoulder mobility here as well as hip mobility and loosening up those legs. Keep that core engaged. Pubic bone to belly button should stay in the whole time. We're breathing a little bit more into those transverse abdominal muscles that are wrapping around the spine. Good. A lot of difference between week 1 and week 6, I have to say. Everyone looks a lot stronger. But hopefully you feel stronger. So again, rest as you need. We're going to go for about 15 more seconds. And then you can come down and rest. Good job, guys. That was really good. It's a lot of work. But it's also mobility. We snuck in mobility and strength in the same movement. So rest as you need. Sit up, grab a drink, shake out the wrists, circle the wrists. Prone, child's pose. Lay on your back for a moment. We're going to move into our stability work. We've only got a few movements to do today. 4 movements. working. So when you're ready, you can come up to standing and find your good block again. We're going to start with our chair pose. We'll do one where we come in and out of it, just to kind of set up our space, and then we're going to hold one for 10 seconds. So block just above the knee, in between the thighs. Make sure those feet are parallel. Standing nice and tall. Make sure you can feel the toes, the big toes and the pinky toes, and the center of the heel of the foot. So we're not leaning more to the front or the back, or to one side than the other. Neutral pelvis, so just take a little check-in. Where are the front of your hips? Are you already starting to lean forward? Are you tucked under? We want them to be forward. The spine is long. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, softening the space around the belly button, and then exhale, zipping it all in and up. And we're going to sit those hips back into chairs. We reach the arms forward, belly button to the spine, and inhale back up, and exhale. Okay, we're going to hold this one. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, pull everything in, and sit it back. Lift that pelvic floor in. Continue to breathe into the upper abdomen and the ribs for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Squeeze that block. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come up. And exhale, release everything. And release that block. Good. Stepping more towards the front of the mat. You're going to step your right foot back. Make sure you're on separate railway tracks. And we're going to turn that right heel in. Toes are towards the long edge of your mat, so those hips are open towards the long edge. So our body is really facing the long edge of the mat, but that left knee and those left toes are towards the front. Okay, so we're starting to engage the back of the glutes to open those hips. Okay, we're going to come out of it, straighten the legs. Okay, arms up, big breath in. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button, and then sink into it, arms wide, bend the left knee, and gaze over the left finger. And then inhale back up, and exhale, just release the arms. Okay, holding this one. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, pelvic floor in, and sink into that left knee. Gaze over that left finger. Keep that pelvic floor in. Keep that pubic bone to belly button zipped up. So we're not relaxing, we're pulling it in. And then take a peek at that left big toe. If you can't see that left big toe, we need to squeeze that left glute a little bit more. Squeeze that right glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, arms up, straighten the front leg. And exhale, release. And then step the feet together. Shake out the legs if you need to. And step the left foot back. Left heel in, left toes all the way up. Hips are facing that long edge. So again, we're more facing the long edge of the mat. Just that right knee and those right toes are towards the front. All right, straighten that front leg. Inhale, the arms come up, big breath. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button, bend that right knee. Inhale, come back out. Exhale, release. Okay, so that was our test one. Any little adjustments that you need to make to the feet. Remember to keep that pelvic floor to belly button in. So we're not releasing that so the pelvis doesn't release. We want to zip it up. Okay, big breath in. Arms come up. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button. Bend that right knee. Gaze over that right middle finger. And take a peek at that right big toe. If you can't see it, squeeze that right glute. Squeeze that left glute. Open those hips. Sink into those hips. Send your energy out into the feet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come out of it. Exhale, release. Step the feet together. Shake out the legs. So side lunge, we haven't done this one. You're going to stand whichever direction you want to. wide on your mat. Toes are towards the long edge, both toes. Both feet, I should say, all 10 toes. So as we bend one knee, we're going to gently turn those toes on kind of a 45. So just take it one side to the other side, a little test bend. The toes are going to turn out slightly so that we can turn the knee out and the opposite leg is straight. And we want to send the hips back. So the pelvis is going to come slightly forward. It's kind of like that good morning move where our spine stays in alignment, but as we take the hips down and we bend the knees, the pelvis tilts, so the spine is going to come onto an angle. Same idea. So you're going to think about sitting back into a chair, but just on one side. Okay, and just take a little test bend to each side so that you're making sure that that knee goes out. We're not collapsing in because we want to engage those glutes. And then come back up nice and tall. Okay, we're going to start with the right leg bending. So we're going to take a big breath in. We're going to bring the arms overhead. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button. We're going to bend the right knee. We're going to reach the arms forward as the hips go back. Sit into that chair on the right. And then inhale back up. And exhale, just release the arms. Inhale back up. Exhale, pelvic floor in, pubic bone to belly button. Sit in that chair to the left. And inhale back up. Exhale, release. Okay, we're going to do that again just because we haven't done this movement before, and then we're going to hold. So inhale, big breath. Exhale, zip it up and sit to the right. And inhale back up. And exhale, release. Inhale back up, big breath. Zip it up first, and then exhale, sit to the left. Inhale back up. Exhale, release. Okay, we're going to hold this one. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, zip up and sit to the right. Sit back into that chair. Sit, sit, sit. Engage. Keep that pelvic floor in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale, release. While you're holding it, if you need to, with your fingers, that'll distract your brain that you need to get out because you're like, my body is moving. I'm doing something. Okay, left side. Ready? Inhale, big breath. Exhale, zip up, and then sit to the left. Sit in that chair. Keep that pelvic floor lifted in. Don't let it drop. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, release. Oh, step the feet together. Is everybody warm? It's amazing. We haven't done a lot of movements, but we've created a lot of internal strength and tension, which has created a lot of heat. Last movement, Malasana, our yoga squat. We're going to do 5 actual squats, and then we're going to hold it, but we want to hold that tension. So if you can't get to the bottom, you're going to stay up as high as you can, keeping that pelvic floor in, keeping pubic bone to belly button engaged. We're going to hold, and then we're going to come up. Okay? So 5 with our breath, and then holding for 10 seconds. So feet a little bit wider than our hips. Toes turned out 45 degrees. As we come down, we want those knees to come up. Okay, we're engaging those glutes. We're not going to let the quads take over. We want to work those glutes and hamstrings, so those knees have to go out. Spine stays neutral. As we, remember, sink our hips and bend our knees, our pelvis tilts and our spine will follow. So your chest is going to come slightly forward. Make sense? We don't want to, we're not dancers, we're not pliing. Okay? Let the spine move with the hips. Okay, big breath in. We're going to bring those arms overhead. Exhale, zip up. Bring that pubic bone to the belly button and sit back in your chair. And inhale all the way back up. Keep it in. Exhale. Inhale up. And exhale. This is 3. Knees out. Inhale up. Squeeze those glutes. Exhale. Knees out. And inhale up. Squeeze those glutes. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Okay, here's our hold. Shake it out. Ready? This is it. This is the last thing. Inhale. Exhale, pelvic floor in, knees out. Sit back in that chair. Keep that pelvic floor in. 10, 9, 8, 7. Knees out. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Ooh, you made it. Shake it out. Lie on your mat. Grab your strap. If you need, grab a drink of water. We're going to stretch that out.
You're going to show us an SI one too.
Yes. Yeah, we'll stretch and then we'll do that. So this is all going to feel really good after all that work we just did. So you're going to take your strap, lying on your back, you're going to lasso it over the bottom of that right foot. And because our feet do some of the work, we're going to shimmy that strap from side to side and just give our feet a little massage. Up and down. Find any little tight, achy spots in the bottom of that foot and rub them out. And then we're going to come back to the center of that foot. Try to rest the backs of the arms, the elbows, on your mat. And then you're going to bend the knee, like you're trying to get the thigh to touch the chest. And then you're going to keep that, and you're just going to start to bring those toes over your nose. So by keeping that deep bend in the knee, we're targeting the center of the muscle rather than the back of the knee for our stretch. So you're going to get right into the center of the calf muscle and the hamstring.
What if you're grinding in your knee? Serious stuff.
You're grinding in your knee?
Yeah. It's not my teeth, it's my knee.
Soften your knee more.
Okay.
Yeah, bend your knee more.
Okay.
And then reach with your toes. Okay?
Thank you. That's better.
Then release that a little bit. And then you're just going to turn your toes in and out a couple of times. And this movement should be happening right from the hip joint. And then we're going to turn those toes out as far as they'll go. We're going to take both sides of the strap into the right hand. And then we're going to control with the strap and that right arm. And we're going to take that stretch over to the right. Nice and slow. If you're really close to somebody, you can rest your leg on them. Try to keep the back of your left hip towards the floor. It might lift just a touch, but try to keep it down as much as you can. So we're not twisting or turning the hips. We want to stay kind of square in this stretch. We can keep that left knee bent, or you can straighten that left leg out. And you should be feeling a stretch down that inner thigh, the abductor, which is our inner quadricep muscle. Connects from the inside of the knee up to the inside of the pelvis into the groin. And then we want to use that core and that pelvic floor to gently lift and pull in, and then we're going to pull up on the strap, and we're going to bring that leg all the way up. We're going to switch hands, and now we're going to do two different things here. I want you to keep both hips on the mat for a moment. We're going to take that right thumb into the right hip crease and just gently draw that right hip down a little bit. And then we're going to gently pull that foot across the midline, keeping the hips on the mat. Now, if the lower back is really sensitive today, you're going to stay here for this IT band stretch. But if the lower back feels all right, you're going to start to let those hips turn, and you're going to come all the way across the body into a twist. So again, if that does not feel good in the lower back, keep the hips on the mat. So you're going to feel that in the glute. You might feel it in the outer glute or down that back of the glute. You might feel it all the way down the outside of that IT band, which is a band of muscle that runs all the way down the outside of the leg. And then we want to, again, gently draw the pelvic floor in, core in, use the strap, pull that leg back up, bend that right knee. You can give it a little hug, thank it for all the work it did today. Good job, right leg. And then we're going to do the left leg. And hook that strap over the bottom of the left foot and start with that little foot massage, move it up and down, side to side. If you have really ticklish feet, this might be a horrible exercise, so don't do it. Or apply more pressure. And then coming into the center of the foot, try to rest the backs of the arms on the floor if you can. And then bend the knee a lot, like a lot more than you normally would. Bend that knee, try to get that thigh to touch your chest. And then from there, try to kick the toes over the nose. So that we're not stretching the back of the knee where the muscle attaches. We're stretching the center of the muscle, the center of the hamstring, the center of the calf muscle. You might also feel this a little bit into the glute if that hamstring is really tight, because that's where the hamstring connects at the top. And then you're going to let that release, and you're going to move the toes in and out, feeling this rotation happening right from that hip joint. So the toes and the heels are going to move in and out, rotating the hip. And then you're going to turn the toes out as far as they can, taking both sides of the strap into that left hand. And then you're going to control that movement as you take that stretch out to the left. Trying to keep the back of the right hip on the mat. Again, if somebody's really close to you, you can always use them as a prop and just rest your foot on them. Or the wall. And you can control how far you go into this. You can also keep that bottom leg bent. If the lower back is sensitive, you're probably going to want to keep that bottom leg, that right leg bent. You can also bend the left knee a little bit too if you're feeling too much pulling in the pelvis and the lower back. And then when you're ready to come out, pelvic floor in, use that strap, pull it up. Starting with just that little movement. Switch hands. Take the left thumb into the left hip crease, gently draw that hip down. And you're going to just cross the midline, keeping both hips on the mat. Bottom leg straight or bent. So keep that left hip on the floor for a moment. Again, if the lower back is sensitive, stay here. But if it feels okay, then you can take it into that full twist across the body. Always just listening to your body. Just go as far as is comfortable where you feel some sensation, but you're not struggling to breathe or to maintain that position. Use the strap. Breathe. Again, you can take that inhale, use that breath to stretch into wherever you're feeling that sensation to lengthen where those muscles connect in the pelvis. And then when you're ready to come out, slowly bringing it back up, bending that knee, hug hugging that left knee and showing that left leg some love, thanking it for all the work it did today. And then I'll show you that movement really quickly. We're all going to have to find some wall space though. So you're going to have to take your feet to the wall. Find some wall space. I'll show it to you today, and then next week we'll go through it a little more thoroughly.